Good morning, Saigon. Thank you for having me here. My name is Hai Ho. I'm coming from ALTERNØ, and we're on a mission to revolutionize the way you heat and cool. We all look at this. No more battery. This happened in Vietnam, in Hanoi, all blah, blah, blah. And last year, the Director of International Energy Agency declared we're in the first truly global energy crisis. And as Mr. Joe just said that renewable energy, but there's a big gap between renewable energy and real-time demand. That's where the battery coming in. However, there's a problem with battery. This is how we mining lithium, nickel, and cobalt around the world, and the price for lithium battery keep going up in the last years. So how do we solve that? Is there any solutions? Yes, there's one. They make from Vietnam. First, we have to get out of the box. The box right now is we own focusing 48% of battery generate electricity for transportation, machinery applications. But outside the box, if 52% of the global energy consumption is on heating and cooling, which require a different type of battery. We call it thermal battery. This is how your coffee is made. From the fresh coffee bean, it was drying in this we call pig farm by burning charcoal. This is how your tea is made, drying from fresh tea leaf in this giant machine that create the teas on your table. This is how your rice is been drying. And all of this are you using intense carbon heat coming from fossil fuel or peak hour electricity. Our solution using renewable energy or off-peak electricity at midnight, charging intelligently in this battery that make from sand. Yes, you heard it right, sand, to capture, store, and distribute heat to our customer current machine. We have a patent for this already in Vietnam. We're the first in the world. This is the first battery that we built. Our market is huge. The entire market for long duration energy storage is a $500 billion market. But we're gonna focus in Vietnam and Indonesia, where easily it makes $600 million just for drying tea, coffee, cacao, cashew nut, and rice. Later, we expand to 5 countries, Vietnam, Indonesia, India, South Sudan, and South Africa and Senegal. So why customer buy a problem? Very simple. We help customers save money. If you compare our solution to current solution and other solution, we are 50% cheaper or even 92% cheaper in the course of 20 years. Not only that, we produce zero emissions, zero fire dust, zero environmental damage after use it, and our battery lasts 20 years, compared to current lithium battery, only 10 years maximum. We already have 3 customers that pay about $300,000. We have $1 million in the pipeline, but also we projected that we can make $100 million by the year of 2030. And every dollar we make is every tree and every carbon we can save. In the last 6 months, we got supported from JICA, Wacom, Mitsubishi Electric, RICO, to build from the idea to prototype. We only done this within the last 6 months with a team of 5 persons only, with a small lab in D2 of Vietnam. How do we able to do that fast? Because we have a very, very strong team. Ken, our CEO, had worked 20 years in software. He built several companies. He sold one of the company to Grab. He sold another one to 7-Eleven Vietnam. Nam, our CTO, the heart of the company, had worked at Samsung, ABB Robotics, and even WinSmart. He's the one behind all the phone, on the smart TV produced by Win. And also, he led one of the biggest sales in the history of ABB Robotics in the Middle East. I myself was the former vice chairman of the Pacific Asia Travel Associations. I grew business worldwide and had raised $2 million in my previous company. Together, the three of us, we only have one mission: to reduce 100 million metric tons of carbon emission while generating $100 million revenue. And we have been able to do that. We hope everyone in the audience today can join us, and all of the leading organizations is supporting our missions. Together, we can build the first unicorn in climate tech from Vietnam, creating a new kind of battery made from sand, not just banana peel. Thank you.
From the judges, please.
First question from Marina.
So a great presentation. I love the idea. My question is, what is your cost for implementation? I think that was missing there versus current cost of implementation.
Okay. Can I get my slide back? Okay. So the cost is right here. For a normal system that using wood or charcoal to burn, in 20 years, it's gonna cost about $34,000 or $50,000. With using our system, the initial cost is about $18,000, and it increased in the last 20 years to $26,000. So in the first 5 years, obviously, we are a little bit more expensive compared to wood, charcoal, or even grit. But after 10 years, we are way cheaper than all other systems.
So, sorry, just a follow-up question. So in the first year and in the first 5 years, how much more expensive are you than
the first year? Our system costs $18,000 per battery. And then after that, you don't have to pay anything because it came from the solar, it's stored in the battery, and then it's for free.
$80,000 versus what's the average current cost?
Right now, if a tea factory, they buy the wood to burn. Every month, it costs them about $3,000 to buy. So for us, it's about CapEx. We invest $18,000 first, and then in the next few years, you don't have to buy anything. But for the client right now, they don't have any machine. They just buy wood, $3,000 per month, $3,000 a month. So it takes them 6 months of buying wood to exchange for one battery.
Awesome. By the way, Kent used to be our advisor at VitCentra.
Of course.
I just came through immigration a few days ago, and I saw his twin brother, and I thought it was him.
Okay.
Just funny. Okay. Anyways, it all sounds really good, but almost too good.
Yep.
I think a lot of the people buying this potential solution too are kind of like older factory owners. Maybe they're kind of like middlemen who are used to just keeping their costs as low as possible because they can kind of pass it on to their buyers as well. Like, what's your pitch to them? Like, you're pitching to us as investors and just a general consumer audience, but how do you approach a factory owner and convince them to spend $18,000 up front when before they can just kind of keep going?
Oh, it's quite, I think for every B2B sale, the only thing people care, price. That's the only thing they care, right? So these are the people we pitch to. Firstly, the company we pick is top in their market. So for example, we have Đến, which is Nestle coffee. They are the buying arm for Nestle coffee. And they have a huge cost for drying coffees every year. So for Đến, the number one is how do they save the costs? Obviously, any hardware purchase is an upfront cost. But when we show them this chart, in 20 years, we're going to help you save 50% or 92%. So that's what we convince Đến. And they are a giant company, they can afford to do so. That's number one. Number two, the second thing we pitch to them, you will be the first in your industry to go carbon emissions, 0. Because with this current system, they're using charcoal, wood is burning. And there's one important thing, legal change. Companies in Europe start to having carbon import tax, which means anything you produce that you generate carbon emissions, you have to pay the tax over that. These companies are exporting to Europe. So right now, they have to invest our system so that 5 years down the road, they don't have to pay the carbon tax, which start to increase. That's number one. Number two, for a company like Doty, they are a small factory in Bảo Lộc. They are burning wood, but their factory is nearby a residential area. And the resident out there, they start to say, I want you to move out because I don't want this kind of smoke. So for them, they have no choice. For EcoV, they build an eco village in Nha Trang out of any nearby grid electricity, so they have no choice. For Antoma, for Yulina, which is a Japanese company, they are building sustainable oil for airline using microalgae. So for them, right, they are a sustainable company. They need sustainable heat. Even though in the beginning, yes, you have to invest some. But that is the biggest challenge for us. However, we have found a way to work out. Our system, we have two parts, solar panel and the battery. For solar panel, we already have financial partner that provide 36-month installment. For the battery, we are in a very strong discussion with financier from Japan or Singapore to also roll out the program, buy now, pay later. And if anyone from the audience, you came in from the bank, yeah, please talk to us.
Awesome, great presentations. Thanks a lot for that, and also great pitch about to the client too. I have a couple questions. First is actually on the impact. So you mentioned that your company is going to do zero emissions, right? And then net zero from day one. On the other hand, I just wonder, can you elaborate further on how you quantify that? Because even manufacturing the battery by itself also emit emissions. The electric cities, well, in Vietnam, we don't have 100% of solar, renewable energy yet. So apparently, it's also mean that everything that under scope 1, you are still emit. I just want, it's great if you can elaborate further. Second question is about the fact that you mentioned about the 20 years lasting of the battery. It's a very new technology, and it has been in 1 year. How can you prove that, or at least is there any peer review research about what you are building so that you can build trust with their clients? That's it. Thank you.
Okay, I think it's a very, very strong questions with a great insight. So this is the battery that we built. It's 2.4 meter high, 1.6 meter wide. Basically, inside it's a steel that we source from Vietnam. Yes, obviously, the steel that we're using right now is steel from carbon-intensive company, but we agree that there's Pháp, there's other manufacturer. They are trying to source things. With this steel, we can obsess with our other emissions. But beside the steel, inside, there's 1 ton of sand. Desert sand, construction sand is expensive, but any kind of sand, and the sand we want the best is desert sand. So basically, it's just sand inside. And inside, there were heating rods that connected directly with the solar panel that heat up the sand. Obviously, there's more engineering inside, but most of the component inside is just sand. So we can quite confident that the environmental and the carbon that we generate is from sand. Right now, when we move the sand from the source to our manufacturing, we don't have to go very far. So basically, we can find construction sands supplier within 1 or 2 kilometers away from the lab. So we can just move quickly. And if available, we can use electric trucks to move to our factory. But the key thing we're talking about the zero environmental damage is about lithium battery. Lithium battery, at the end of their lifespan, you have to handle very carefully because there's a lot of poisons, chemical inside. But for us, it's just sand. And for us, right, after 20 years, every component we build like an IKEA model. If this steel falling off, we can replace, we can recycle. But the sand, it can last for thousands of years. So even though we are only a 1 year company, we're confident that the sand can last longer than our company. That's the explanations. Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Hai. Nice to meet you again. I actually have 3 questions. So the first one would be, where are the sources for the sand? So just want to make sure on how can you actually secure the supply for the raw materials. The second one, I would ask you about your expansion plan, because next year in 2024, you're going to expand to Vietnam and also Indonesia. I love that idea because Vietnam and Indonesia is 2 of the top countries in terms of total installed capacity for renewables. But I just want to make sure have you foreseen any regulatory barriers when you expand to the Indonesian market? And just one last question on the battery. You mentioned 18K for one battery with the storage, 88 kilowatt per hour. There are a range of other alternatives that people can choose, which is cheap. So how can you convince other people to buy a battery?
Okay, I think the first questions is,
where are the sources for the sand?
So right now, for the source of the sands, we sourcing from construction sand supplier that nearby the lab. But the ideal sand will be sand from Bình Thuận. One of the partner told me that Dubai or Egypt will very happy to pay us to use their sand so that they can clear out the desert and they can build something. So sand from anywhere, no problem. The second one is for the expansion plans. Our investor is ALTERNØ, which is an incubation program that have 25 present in 25 countries. So they have a very strong team in Indonesia. We already have a partner in Indonesia for expansions. And in order to expand this, the way we build this product is we can outsource to any small workshops in Indonesia or in any other country, so they can rebuild all of this. And the sand is also sourced locally, so we don't have to worry about import and export. For this kind of regulatory research, we do receive funding from JICA in Japan, so that we can apply for this kind of new, actually this is a new device. When we building this in Vietnam, we don't know where this is going to fall under because this is something totally new. But right now, we register under energy storage. And obviously, we have to comply with fire and hazards control as well. So we do spend about 20% of our research in terms of applying regulatory approval. And we only enter any market if we got the machines approved. Besides that, in our seed round funding, we already have a plan to apply our patents in Indonesia as well.